You know when you just get in those moods where you can't put a book down? That has been me since the beginning of the year. Somehow I have already gone through 12 books and I have another 10 waiting for me. So we're gonna go through everything I've read and whether it's worth it, and then we'll go through my reading list. We're doing this in no particular order. We are starting with Lessons in Chemistry. This book started off so slow, like I didn't really like it at first, but then all of a sudden, after all the horrible things happened to the main girl, I started loving the book. Like by the end of it, I was reading it and laughing. Like my boyfriend was like, "Are you good over there? Why are you just giggling to yourself?" By the end of it, you will be screaming girl power. I wish it was quicker to start, so I am gonna give it a 9 out of 10, but I definitely recommend this one. The Soulmate Equation is one of those really easy, enjoyable reads. Like it's got its ups and downs, but I just was happy pretty much the whole time reading it. Like I feel like you know where the ending is going, but even so, you're still enjoying it. Another 9 out of 10. The 5-Star Weekend, I'd say, is probably one of Elin Hilderbrand's better books. Like all of her books are really nice, easy beach reads. Like they make you just want to go take a cottage vacation on Nantucket. But this one was one of the better ones. Honestly, I would give this a 10 out of 10. Like I did not want to put this one down. Then we've got Britney Spears' book, The Woman in Me. Honestly, I don't think I've ever read an autobiography, especially by a celebrity before, but this one was good. I will say it did frustrate me because it didn't really seem like it was written in Britney's voice, which if you followed her on Instagram, you know, her voice is a little confusing. So I can understand that there was definitely a lot of edits that needed to happen, especially with her ghostwriter, but I just feel like her ghostwriter wasn't able to get her voice across how I expected it to be. But still, the book was really good. I did enjoy it more than I thought I would, but I'm still gonna give it a 7 out of 10. This book I bought because there was no other books I could find. Escape by Barbara Delinsky, and I am not gonna lie, I liked this a lot more than I thought I would. I put off reading it for like a solid month or two. I read every other book I had before I had to read this one, but it was actually really good. It's basically about this girl who just wants to escape and goes back to this small town where she had some like life-altering things happen to her, but she didn't leave in the best way. So she has to go back and deal with all of that, but also find her way forward in her current life. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know where the ending was heading for a while. So I was kind of like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? So surprisingly, I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. My friend gave me this book so that I wouldn't have to spend more money and buy more books. It's all I want for Christmas. And I'm not gonna lie, this is one of those easy, cheesy, ready books. It made me want to be a famous singer and go on American Idol, even though I do not have the voice for that. But it wasn't bad, you know, it gave you that romance, it gave you happiness. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. My Summer Darlings was a little frustrating for me, especially I find when you don't love some of the characters it's centered around, it can be frustrating. Not to mention this book touches a lot upon women's need to impress men and screw over their female friends, which is so frustrating sometimes because you just want to shake them and be like, wake up. But it was a good thriller and I did like the ending. Mind you, I wasn't super excited to pick this book up and read it every single time. So I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. We've got another Elin Hilderbrand book, and this one is the Hotel Nantucket. Honestly, this was another one of her top books. I really enjoyed it. Like it's about a whole bunch of different people. It kind of gave me White Lotus vibes without people dying. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect the ending, but I did really enjoy it. So I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10. I don't know, Elin is doing such a good job. Something Wilder is not like a lot of the books I normally read. It's kind of more of like a treasure hunt book. There's some romance, there's some death, there's some ups and downs, and there were a few twists and turns I wasn't expecting. While this isn't the kind of book I normally read, I did enjoy it. So I'm gonna give this a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe an 8, but I'm gonna say 7.5. One True Loves was such a good book. It's by the writer of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and that book I seriously loved. But this is one of those books where the main girl marries her high school sweetheart. She thinks they're gonna live happily ever after, but then what happens? He dies. So she goes back home and she ends up with the guy she didn't think she would end up with in high school, but like the nice guy, you know, she ends up with the nice guy. And then what do you know? Her husband is found and he is actually alive. So it's definitely a book all about romance and figuring out who to spend the rest of your life with, and I quite enjoyed it. I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. The Way I Used to Be was a really well-written book. It's a book about rape, and I just feel like this one hit really close to home for me, and it helped me weirdly process a lot of my emotions as she was processing her emotions. I don't know, I feel like I read this book at the perfect time that I needed to read this book. It really helps you open your eyes to see how people go through these kinds of things. And while other people may not understand, this kind of helps you get that understanding. I'm gonna give this book a 10 out of 10. I feel like the way it was written was so well thought out. It's a subject that can be really hard to talk about, but I feel like in this book, it was really well done. And finally, the last book I've read this year, The Summer Girl. This book is such a fun, easy beach read. It's apparently a part of a series, and it's the third book, which I didn't realize at the time, but it's one of those books that even though it's a part of a series, you don't necessarily need to read it in order, and good thing because I didn't. But it was light and fun. A girl who's going to a beach town for the summer, wants to find a fling, hooks up with the guy, they just want to be friends. Will they end up together? Who knows? I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. Oh my god, I almost forgot about the book I'm currently reading, Better Than the Movies. This one is honestly so cute. You know exactly where it's going from the beginning, but I would suggest it. I haven't read the ending yet, but I'm pretty sure I know where it's going. So far, I would give this one a 9 out of 10 as an easy read. By the way, most of these books I have bought from Book Outlet because I cannot afford to be going to Chapters and buying full-priced books. So if you haven't checked it out, check out Book Outlet. They have really good deals, and a lot of these are available there. So those are all of the books I've read this year. Now on to my reading list. Since I already read the third book in the series, I figured I should read book 1 and 2. So we have got Good Girl Complex and Bad Girl Reputation by Elle Kennedy. This is book 1, and this is book 2. Another series is this one by Hannah Grace. Icebreaker is the first book, and Wildfire is the second book. However, a lot of people on TikTok said that Icebreaker is one of the worst books they have ever read, so I am not looking forward to this one. They also have a third book, but it was on Amazon and I didn't want to buy it, so I haven't bought it yet. And I guess I'll decide whether I will once I actually read these and see if they're worth it. Then the final series that I bought is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. Some people online said I have this wrong and this isn't actually the order of the series, so please look it up before you buy because I may be wrong. But the first book is The Friend Zone. Then we have got Yours Truly, and then we have got Life's Too Short. I think it's this one that isn't a part of the series, but I'm not for sure. I gotta look that up. And because I seem to be an idiot when I'm buying books, I bought Fumbled by Alexa Martin, but apparently this is book 2 to the series, so I need to buy book 1 before I read this one. Then we've got Too Beautiful to Break by Tessa Bailey. I've read some of her books before, and I have enjoyed them, so looking forward to that one. And then this book, I didn't actually buy. It was in my Book Outlet order for some reason. It's Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. It feels like it's fantasy. It just looks like a fantasy book, and I haven't really gotten into fantasy books before, so maybe this will be my start. I don't know, maybe it's a sign I gotta read some fantasy. But that is it. Those are all of the books I've read and all of the books I'm gonna read. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Love you!